What if I told you that right now, tonight, sitting in your kitchen, there are two ordinary things that almost every single American already owns, and when you combine them the right way, in the right order, at the right time of day, you could be giving your body something it has been quietly begging for years? Not a pill, not a powder, not some overpriced supplement you saw on Instagram. Two things, already in your home, already paid for. Stay with me until the end of this video, because I am going to show you exactly how to do this, why it works, and the one mistake that kills every single benefit if you get it wrong. And you need to hear this before you try it, because I guarantee at least 90% of people who have ever attempted this combination have been doing it the wrong way. And here's the part that is going to sound a little strange at first. One of these two things most people think of as a morning ritual, something millions of Americans cannot start their day without. The other one most people think of as a cooking ingredient, something you chop up and throw into a pan. Coffee and garlic. Right now you might be thinking, okay, that is weird. I get it. I had the same reaction the first time I heard it. But give me the next few minutes, because what I am about to share with you is backed by real science. It costs you almost nothing. And when you understand why this combination is so powerful, you are going to wonder why no one ever told you this before. Before we go any further, I need to be very clear about something. Everything in this video is for educational and entertainment purposes only. I'm not a doctor, I am not a licensed medical professional, and nothing I say here is intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or medical condition. Please consult your personal health care provider before making any changes to your diet or health routine, especially if you are pregnant, nursing, taking prescription medications, or managing a chronic health condition. This is information. What you do with it is your choice. What is actually happening to us? Now let me ask you something real. How do you feel in the mornings? And I don't mean just a little tired. I mean genuinely, how is your body doing? Because here is what the data actually says about the average American adult right now. 60% of American adults are living with at least one chronic health condition. Heart disease is still the #1 cause of death in this country. Over 650,000 Americans die from it every single year. And chronic inflammation, which most people don't even know they have, is now linked by researchers to everything from joint pain to digestive problems to brain fog to cardiovascular disease. And the scariest part, most of it is silent. You don't feel inflammation working against you. You just feel off. You feel slower than you used to. You feel like your energy isn't what it was 5 years ago. You feel like your body is fighting something, but you can't quite name what. Here is the honest truth. Millions of people are walking around with bodies that are quietly inflamed, with circulation that is sluggish, with immune systems that are overworked, and they are spending hundreds of dollars every month on supplements trying to fix it, when two of the most scientifically validated natural compounds on the planet are already sitting 10 feet away from them in the kitchen. This is not a scare tactic. This is just where we are as a country. And I want to talk to you today about something so simple it almost sounds too simple. But simple does not mean it doesn't work. Sometimes simple is exactly why it works. What coffee actually does to your body. Let's start with coffee, because you probably already know you love it, but you might not know what it is actually doing inside you when you drink it. Americans drink over 350 million cups of coffee every single day. That makes the United States one of the top coffee-consuming nations in the entire world. But here is the thing most coffee drinkers do not realize. For the average American adult, coffee is the single largest source of antioxidants in their entire diet. Not blueberries, not green tea, not vegetables, coffee. Research from the University of Scranton found that Americans get more antioxidant activity from coffee than from any other food or beverage. And antioxidants matter because they fight something called oxidative stress, which is essentially what happens when unstable molecules called free radicals start damaging your cells. Oxidative stress is linked to aging, to inflammation, to heart disease, to cognitive decline. But that is not all coffee does. Black coffee, and I am emphasizing black because what you add to coffee matters enormously, which we will come back to. Black coffee has been shown in multiple studies to improve blood flow by relaxing the inner lining of your arteries. It supports brain function. It activates your metabolism. It has real, measurable, documented effects on the human body that go far beyond just waking you up. The problem is, most people drink their coffee wrong. More on that in a moment. What garlic is actually doing to your body. Now let's talk about garlic. Garlic has been used medicinally for over 5,000 years. Ancient Egyptians gave it to pyramid workers for strength and endurance. Hippocrates, the father of modern medicine, prescribed garlic for a range of conditions. Traditional Chinese medicine, Ayurvedic medicine, ancient Greek and Roman medicine, they all recognized something powerful in this small, pungent bulb that grew from the ground. And now modern science is finally explaining exactly why they were right. When you crush or chop a raw garlic clove, it triggers a chemical reaction inside the garlic. An enzyme called allinase converts a compound called allin into something called allicin, and allicin is the star of the show. Allicin is one of the most studied natural compounds in the world. Research published in the Journal of Nutrition has shown that allicin has potent antioxidant properties. It has demonstrated significant anti-inflammatory effects in multiple peer-reviewed studies. Research published in the American Heart Association's journal Hypertension found that garlic supplementation produced measurable reductions in blood pressure in patients with hypertension. Multiple studies have shown garlic supports healthy LDL cholesterol levels. And research from the University of Florida found that garlic extract increased the production of immune cells, specifically the T cells and natural killer cells your body uses to fight infection. Think about that for a moment. One small garlic clove contains a compound that supports your heart, your circulation, your immune system, and your body's ability to fight inflammation, all at the same time. But here is the critical thing almost no one tells you. And this is the part that changes everything. Allicin is extremely fragile. Heat destroys it. If you cook garlic before it has had time to form allicin, you lose the majority of the benefit before it ever reaches your body. This is the mistake. This is the one thing people get wrong constantly. They think cooking garlic is fine. They think roasting garlic or sautéing garlic gives them the same health benefits as raw garlic. It does not. The moment garlic hits high heat, allicin breaks down rapidly. There's a very specific, very simple technique to preserve it. And I am going to tell you exactly how to do it in just a moment. What happens when these two come together? Now here is where it gets really interesting. Let me tell you about a woman named Sandra. Sandra is in her early 50s, lives in Texas, and came across this combination through a friend about 2 years ago. Sandra had been dealing with what she described as just feeling worn down. Not sick enough to go to the doctor constantly, but not well enough to feel like herself. Her mornings were sluggish. Her digestion was off. She had gone through a phase of buying every supplement she saw recommended online, and none of it was making a noticeable difference. A friend of hers, someone who had been doing the coffee and raw garlic combination for about 4 months, told her about it. Sandra thought it sounded ridiculous. She tried it anyway. Within the first 2 weeks, she noticed her morning energy was more consistent. Not a spike and crash like she was used to. Just a steadier, calmer kind of alertness that carried into the afternoon. Within a month, she told her friend that her digestion had noticeably improved. And at her next doctor's appointment, her blood pressure reading, which had been creeping upward for 2 years, had come down to a level her doctor described as significantly better. Now, is Sandra's result guaranteed for everyone? No. Bodies are different. Conditions are different. But Sandra's experience is not unique. It reflects what the science would actually predict. 2 powerful sources of antioxidants and anti-inflammatory compounds, working together, taken consistently over time. Now let me tell you about Marcus. Marcus is 43 years old, works a desk job in Chicago, drinks 2 cups of coffee every morning, and started adding raw garlic to his morning routine 6 months ago after watching a video similar to this one. Marcus was not sick. He was just a guy who wanted to be more proactive about his health before problems showed up. His words, "I'm not waiting until something breaks to try to fix it." After 3 months of doing this consistently, Marcus noticed that he was getting sick less often. He had gone through a full winter without the usual 2 or 3 colds he normally dealt with every year. He also noticed his afternoon energy crashes were much less severe, and his gym performance, which he tracks carefully, had measurably improved in terms of endurance. Again, individual results vary. These are real experiences from real people, not clinical trial data. But when you understand the underlying science, these kinds of results make complete sense. The mistake. Most people make back to the mistake because this is so important. Most people, when they hear about combining garlic with coffee, do one of 3 things wrong. First mistake, they use garlic powder. Now, garlic powder is not useless, but commercially processed garlic powder has already lost a significant portion of its allicin potential because of how it is manufactured. If you want the real benefits, you need a whole raw garlic clove. Second mistake, they chop the garlic and use it immediately. Remember allicin? It does not exist in the garlic until the clove is crushed or chopped, and it takes time to form. Research suggests that crushing or chopping garlic and then letting it sit for 10 full minutes before consuming it or adding it to anything allows the maximum amount of allicin to develop. 10 minutes. That is it. That is the step that most people skip entirely because nobody told them about it. The third mistake. They put the garlic in hot liquid. If you crush a garlic clove, wait 10 minutes for the allicin to form, and then drop it into a boiling hot cup of coffee, you're going to destroy a large portion of what you just carefully created. Heat is a ligan's enemy. The coffee should be warm but not scalding, the kind of temperature you would comfortably drink, not the temperature that burns your tongue. Avoid these 3 mistakes, and you are already doing better than 90% of the people who have ever tried this. The right way. The simple recipe. Now I'm going to tell you the right way to do this, and I want you to notice how simple it actually is. Step 1. Take 1 small raw garlic clove, just 1. You do not need a whole head of garlic, 1 clove. If the cloves in your garlic are large, use half. Step 2. Peel it and then crush it firmly with the flat side of a knife. You're not mincing it, not chopping it fine, just crushing it so it breaks open and the compounds inside start their reaction. Step 3. Leave it alone for 10 minutes. Set a timer if you need to. Go make your coffee while you wait. Let the allicin develop. This step costs you nothing except a little patience, and it makes an enormous difference. Step 4. Brew your coffee. Black coffee is best. If you truly cannot drink black coffee, a small amount of unsweetened almond milk is acceptable. What you want to avoid is sugar, flavored syrups, heavy cream in large amounts, or anything that is going to spike your blood sugar immediately and create an inflammatory response that works against everything you're trying to accomplish. The coffee itself is an ally. What people add to it is often the problem. Step 5. Now you have 2 options depending on what works better for you personally. Option 1, you simply swallow the crushed garlic clove whole, like a small pill, with your first sip of coffee. You do not chew it, you just swallow it. When garlic is swallowed whole rather than chewed, a significant portion of the allicin is released lower in your digestive tract, rather than in your mouth, which means the garlic breath effect is dramatically reduced. Many people who do it this way report barely noticing any garlic smell at all. The coffee helps it go down easily. Option 2, if swallowing a whole piece of garlic feels uncomfortable, you can use a fine grater or garlic press to make a very small amount of raw garlic paste, about 1/4 teaspoon, and stir it into your warm coffee. Some people add a tiny pinch of raw black pepper at this point, which contains a compound called piperine that has been shown to increase the absorption of other nutrients. The taste is mild, and most people stop noticing it entirely within the first week. Do this once a day. Morning is the best time. Your body is in a slightly fasted state, absorption is efficient, and the combination of caffeine and allicin creates a gentle, sustainable energy and circulation boost that carries through your morning. That is it. That is the whole recipe. 1 garlic clove, 10 minutes, warm black coffee. Every morning. What to expect, and what to watch out for. Let me be completely honest with you about what to expect, because I want this information to actually be useful to you rather than just exciting for 5 minutes. In the first 3 to 5 days, some people notice a mild digestive adjustment. Garlic is a prebiotic fiber, meaning it feeds the beneficial bacteria in your gut, and if your gut microbiome has been out of balance, you might notice some bloating or gurgling in the early days. This is not harmful. It is actually a sign that your gut is responding. It typically resolves within a week for most people. Some people notice improved energy and a slightly elevated mood within the first week. This is likely the combination of the antioxidant effect and the circulation support. It is not dramatic. It is subtle. It is the kind of thing where you realize 3 weeks in that your afternoons have been better lately, and you can trace it back to this morning habit. The benefits that take longer, the cardiovascular support, the blood pressure effects, the sustained immune system improvement, these develop over 4 to 12 weeks of consistent use. You're not going to feel your arteries relax on day 2, but that does not mean nothing is happening. The research is clear that these effects build over time with consistent intake. Now, who should be careful? If you are on blood-thinning medications like warfarin, raw garlic in regular amounts can have a mild blood-thinning effect of its own, and combining the 2 without your doctor's knowledge is not a good idea. Tell your doctor. Let them make the call. If you are taking medication for high blood pressure, garlic may enhance the blood pressure lowering effect, which could potentially lower it more than intended. Again, tell your doctor. This is not a reason to avoid it. It is a reason to monitor it with medical supervision. If you have acid reflux or a sensitive stomach, raw garlic on an empty stomach can be irritating for some people. In that case, have a small bite of food before your coffee and garlic routine, or move the routine to after your breakfast rather than before. And if you are pregnant, talk to your midwife or OB before adding raw garlic in these amounts to your daily routine. Garlic in normal cooking amounts is perfectly fine during pregnancy, but concentrated daily doses is a different conversation that belongs with your healthcare provider. Why this matters. I want to take a step back and talk about why I think this matters beyond just the recipe. We live in a country that spends more money on healthcare than almost any other nation on earth, and yet chronic disease rates keep rising. Heart disease,